For the first time in 8 years, the U.S. and Iran held talks. The talks, which took place this weekend, centered on Iran's nuclear energy program, which the U.S. insists should not be weaponized. To help us understand what's at stake, Will Todman, senior fellow at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, joins us for tonight's interview. Will, thank you for joining us. Let's start with the nuclear program. Help us understand what the debate is about.
The debate is about Iran's nuclear program and whether or not it's true when it says that it only has intentions to have a civilian program. President Trump is very concerned that Iran is at the threshold of breaking out to a nuclear weapon and wants to ensure that he has a deal in place to ensure that never happens. That is something that Israel views as an existential threat, but it's also something that would be really destabilizing for the rest of the Middle East. So even though it was President Trump who previously exited the previous Iran nuclear deal that was signed under President Obama, he is now hoping that he can get a better deal. And as you said, talks began this weekend, and they went about as well as I think anybody could have expected.
And what's the sign that they went well? The fact they're going to meet for a second round?
Exactly. This was the first time that they had met face-to-face, Iranian and U.S. officials, since Trump withdrew from the Iranian nuclear deal. And so there is a huge amount of distrust between both sides here. And so the first step was to come face-to-face to find out where each side's red lines are and to scope out whether or not there's even the potential to come to an agreement here. And ultimately, those positions that each side put forward were not so maximalist that one side was driven away from the negotiating table. And as you said, they're planning to meet again this coming weekend. And it's at that stage when the talks will get more into the technical aspects to work out exactly what the future of Iran's nuclear program will be.
Well, is Iran in a weakened position from either the crushing sanctions and/or do they feel that the president is serious when he talks about using military action against Iran?
Both of those things. Iran's economy is in a really bad state. It has more than 30% inflation. It has extremely high unemployment. And domestically, the situation is really bad for Iranians as the result of years of very extreme sanctions. But at the same time, Iran is now at the weakest position it's been in the region for decades. Just in the last year, its network of proxies across the region has been severely downgraded, from Israel's operations against Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas, but also from the collapse of the former regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. So for the Iranians, this is now an existential moment. They really fear that Israel or the United States will move ahead with military action against their nuclear facilities unless they come up with an agreement. And so the clock is ticking. But for the Iranians, this is a real challenge because typically they negotiate in a very methodological and slow pace. And so President Trump is forcing them to change these instincts and to engage on the timeline that he is imposing, which means fast talks, and we'll see where they go.
And very quickly, in about 15 seconds left, we know what the state of their actual nuclear program is.
Yes, they are very close to breaking out to the level where they would be able to make nuclear weapons. I understand they have about enough uranium to make 6 nuclear weapons. So this really does feel extremely crucial at this moment.
Will Todman from CSIS. Thank you so much, Will.